Here in Pippins pregame, alongside manager Marcus McKimmey as we preview Game 2 tonight between the Pippins and the Victoria Harbor Cats, second of this six-game road trip. And last night, the team falls down 6-1 early, a run in the first. They get a sixth spot in the bottom half of the frame. I guess first thing, what turned it around? 11 unanswered runs. What's the key couple of things or a big thing you saw that turned that game around and ended up being, you guys doubling them up?
Well, I don't think, Jack, we ever really lost a ton of momentum. I mean, giving up 6 in the first is never good, but I mean, we came out, got a leadoff hit, and a successful hit and run on the very next pitch, and a couple good at bats just to get the one. Even though we could have very easily had more, then Bosetti at the bottom of the order in the second comes up with the 2-run single, and it was just an offensive game from the beginning. The story was really just Cade's ability to really pitch and figure out what their lineup wants to do and counteract that. The 2 home runs speak for themselves, but we had a leadoff error on a routine ball and 2 walks that are uncharacteristic of Cade, and that ended up doubling what could have not been. So, no, super credit to Cade because putting up the three zeros after that, and then obviously the bullpen was stellar. I mean, it's just a game that if you weren't in the moment or you weren't following along closely would feel a whole lot different than what it was because our guys played really well. I was super proud of them, and we scored 8 of 9 innings, one short of a bucket list item for a coach to score in every inning. I mean, there's a ton of positives in there, man, and just a really gritty effort on a day that we travel 8 or 9 hours.
To drill it home here kind of on the pitching, obviously pretty much all the love in that game will go to the offense, putting up the kind of numbers they did, 15 hits, 12 runs. But you talk about Cade Woods making adjustments for 3 innings, and then the work in relief of Will Adair in his debut, Pete Manella also throwing up the 8 scoreless frames that they did. What adjustments did Cade make, and how did that carry over to the bullpen? What did they do to be effective there?
Well, Cade needs to understand, and I think that there was some enlightenment with him that the way that he's pitched in the past isn't necessarily the way he needs to go about it here in the summer with better hitters, better competition, more physical guys, and what he can do well is really pitch backwards, and he can really adjust timing, and when he got through their order one time, the rest was you either adapt or Darwin says you die, and he adapted, and it was a super job by him to really get us through 4 before having to go to the pen after a really long first inning. Will was stupendous. I mean, we had a great defensive play to save a run from Tora and a great catch and tag at the plate. There's just a lot of guys in that game, both defensively and on the mound, that made plays, and the hitting, like you said, it might be the story, but there's so many other mini plots in there that was just great to see from a team standpoint and from a coaching standpoint are things that we have to do on a consistent basis to be good, and it's a great challenge for us today to follow that up.
11 unanswered runs last night for the Pippins. They scored in 8 out of 9 frames tonight. John Fuqua on the mound. And real quick, Victoria throwing Claire Eccles, her first West Coast League start. She had a non-league start, first female to play in the West Coast League. I think just a quick thought from you, seeing a woman get to play here in the West Coast League, what it means kind of for baseball as a whole, for the league as a whole, and kind of how special is it for the guys to have an opportunity now to play against it.
Yeah, it's a matchup for us that we're going to scout and attack the same as we do with any other scouting report or any other philosophy that we want to do offensively. They're an above 500 team, which we're not, and if she's good enough to start for them, it's a matchup that we take very seriously, and we've got to come with the same mindset we do all the time, and that's a business-like one.
Historic night for the Victoria Harbor Cats, throwing the first female in a West Coast League start. John Fuqua will counter, 6th start for him as he tries to bounce back. Pippins going for 3 in a row here as they take on Victoria.